If you've clicked on this video, I know that you're planning or have an upcoming trip to Tokyo, Japan. In fact, you may or may not have already watched my previous video on tips for first-time visitors in Tokyo, Japan. Which, by the way, if you did, thank you so much for doing so. The video is currently at 48,000 views and counting. I received quite a few comments in that video, Instagram DMs, as well as even emails with follow-up questions, which I have to say are very good questions that could benefit anyone else who is planning to visit. And as such, I thought that I would do a follow-up video to that video to answer all of those questions in one go. In general, most of the questions surround getting from the airport to downtown Tokyo and Japan travel passes. And I get it, because I was also really confused when I was initially researching for my trip. And so I'm gonna first address all your questions surrounding getting from the airport to Tokyo in the next section of this video, followed on by all the questions surrounding Japan travel passes in the next section. So definitely watch both of those sections all the way through to make sure you don't miss out on any important information. I'm also going to be adding in some new updates, such as the new 24, 48, 72 hours Tokyo Metro card, as well as the Grutto pass. Before answering the rest of your questions, which include things such as where to stay in Tokyo. Do note that this video is meant to supplement the initial video that I did. So if you haven't watched that video yet, I definitely recommend clicking back over to watch that first before doing this one. I've linked it here. With that out of the way, let's jump straight into it. Let's start with getting you from Tokyo Airport to downtown Tokyo. There are two airports in Tokyo, Haneda and Narita. Narita is about 80 kilometers away from downtown Tokyo, whereas Haneda is only 25. And as such, the options that are available for both locations are a little bit different and can often be quite confusing. In this next section, I'm going to break down all the information you need for both Haneda and Narita. Let's start with Narita. For Narita Airport, I definitely recommend checking out this link here, which concisely outlines all the public transportation options that you have in terms of public transportation from the airport to downtown Tokyo. Let's have a look-see. As you can see, you have rail, bus, taxi, etc. options. For example, if you click on the trains, it will show you the Keisei Skyliner and Narita Express as options, how to locate the railway ticket counter once you've arrived, and you can even use the trip planner option to see how much it costs and if that particular transportation option is available at the time of your arrival. Yes, by the way, the buses and trains do not run 24/7. They generally run from about 6 a.m. to about 10 p.m. as you can see here. And so if you arrive outside of these time frames, what are your options? Well, you can still do a private or shared airport transfer or catch a cab. These are more expensive options though, with the shared transfer costs starting from around $100 whereas getting a cab would cost you anything from $200 to $300 with late night surcharges depending on your time of arrival. But these are good options if you're traveling with a large group of people or with a lot of luggages. But what about Haneda Airport, Steve? I'm glad you asked. For Haneda, I definitely recommend checking out this link, which will give you all the options available. As you can see here, you can choose from the trains, limousine buses, and fixed fare cabs. Let's start with the train and limousine buses. As expected, they also do not run 24/7. The operating hours are as you can see here on the screen. But when in doubt, check out the planner on the website, which will also tell you if there are any trains running during your arrival time. The website also has plenty of other useful information, such as how to locate the train platform, the train departure times, trip duration, and prices for both from Haneda Airport to Tokyo and vice versa when you're headed back. The link on the website for the KQ limousine buses didn't seem to be working when I checked it, but lucky for you, I found the working link which will give you the departure and arrival times, so you can check if there are buses that suit your arrival and departure times, as well as the associated ticket prices. Again, I've placed that link here and also in my description box. The option that I do want to highlight here is the fixed fare taxis, because remember, Haneda is a lot closer to downtown Tokyo than Narita fares, and as such, catching a cab from Haneda to downtown Tokyo is a lot more feasible cost-wise than Narita. This will cost up to 12,200 yen depending on the area in Tokyo that you're staying at. Do note though that it is much cheaper, for example, if you're staying in Shibuya, which is 7,800 yen, or Shinjuku, which is 8,300 yen. There is a little surcharge if you're riding the cab between 10 p.m. to 5 a.m. as you can see here, but the clear advantage apart from this option being a fixed fare is that this is available 24/7. A huge chunk of the other questions I got surrounded Japan travel passes, and so let's talk about that in this next section. And perhaps the top question that gets asked the most is where can you get a SUICA or PASMO card? This is in part due to the shortage in IC cards in Japan, which can mean that sometimes the cards are sold out. Your first point of contact, in my humble opinion, should be the JRE Service Center. You will find this at the arrival hall of both the Haneda and Narita airport. This is where I got my SUICA from. If they have sold out, remember that you can always activate a digital SUICA or PASMO in your Apple Wallet. It's very simple. Go to your Apple Wallet, search for SUICA or PASMO, and top up using Apple Pay, and you're ready to go. But what if you have an Android device? Well, I'm glad you asked, as that is easily the second most asked question. Unfortunately, getting a digital SUICA or PASMO is not possible if you have an Android device that was not purchased in Japan, and so you are going to need a physical card. If you are arriving at Haneda Airport, you can actually get a welcome SUICA card via klook.com. I've placed the link here and also in my description box. Once you've purchased it, your card will be available for pickup when you arrive. Unfortunately, the Klook option is not available if you're landing in Narita, and so if you are an Android user, the Tokyo Metro cards may be your next viable option. There are 3 cards to choose from: 24, 48, and 72 hours. As the name suggests, during the said duration of the card, you can take unlimited rides on the Tokyo Metro. The costs are as shown here on the screen. If you're planning to stay put in Tokyo, I definitely recommend getting one of these to buy you some time to locate an actual physical SUICA or PASMO in Tokyo. Or the Tokyo Metro card may be the only card you need if you're not planning to stay put in Tokyo. Allow me to explain. For example, if you're planning to only stay in Tokyo for 3 days before heading off to say Osaka, a 72-hour Tokyo Metro card can be used in conjunction with a bullet train ticket or a JR pass. That leads quite nicely into the next topic, which is, do I need a JR pass? Long story short, due to the rising cost of JR passes, you can really only justify one if you're planning a lot of intercity trips. Intercity meaning, say for example, Tokyo to Osaka, Osaka to Kyoto, etc., etc. This is because you have to ride a bullet train, aka a shinkansen, which is not covered under a SUICA, PASMO, Tokyo Metro card, etc. Even then, if you plan on doing, for example, only one intercity trip, getting the bullet train ticket independently might still cost you less than getting a JR pass. To definitively find out if getting a JR pass is worth it for you, head on over to this link and plot out your trip itinerary. If the total fare amount shown once you've plotted out your itinerary costs more than a JR pass, then getting a JR pass is going to be worth it for you. Let's look at an example. So let's say I land in Tokyo, and maybe after a couple of days I plan to head to Osaka. Then after Osaka I might be coming back to Tokyo. In fact, I could just round that as a round trip. And then maybe after Tokyo I plan to head to Kyoto, and then back to Tokyo. I will then scroll down. As you can see here, it's going to cost me around 30,000 yen to do these 2 intercity trips, which still costs less than a 7-day JR pass, which would cost around 50,000 yen. And so in this instance, it's definitely cheaper for me to just get the bullet trains independently, and then just use a SUICA or PASMO to ride all forms of public transportation when I'm in any of those cities. But if, let's say, you've plotted out your trip and it shows you that it is actually worthwhile getting a JR Pass. My best advice for you would be to get it ahead of time by a minimum of about 2 to 3 weeks, as they will actually mail you a document that you're gonna need in order to claim your pass. They will mail this to your home address. You can purchase the JR Pass on their official website, again link here and also in my description box. Another question I had was if the ICOCA card can be used in Tokyo. The answer is yes. The ICOCA is one of 10 IC cards that you can get in Japan, and it is essentially the same thing as a SUICA or PASMO and do exactly the same thing. Any one of these 10 IC cards can be used within any cities in Japan. And to be clear, none of the Japan IC cards work for the bullet trains, so you cannot use your SUICA, PASMO, ICOCA, Tokyo Metro card, or any one of those to ride bullet trains. The other question I had was the difference between a regular SUICA and a welcome SUICA. The key difference lies in its reusability. A welcome SUICA will expire after 28 days, and you cannot get back any balance that is remaining on the card. That balance will be completely voided once the 28 days have lapsed. Whereas a regular SUICA is valid for 10 years from its time of last use, which means you can use it on your return trips. The equivalent of this in the PASMO world is a regular PASMO and a PASMO passport. Some of the questions I got: can I get my SUICA or PASMO balance back at the end of my trip? If you have a regular SUICA or PASMO, you can get your balance back, but it is a bit of a hassle. Allow me to explain. For a SUICA card, you will need to head to a JRE service center. You can find these anywhere throughout Japan, but I recommend going to the one at the airport at Narita or Haneda before flying out. Alternatively, you can also locate these refund machines at Haneda Airport. For SUICA, a 220 yen processing fee will be charged to withdraw any balance. So say for example, you've got 1,000 yen left on your SUICA card, you can get 780 yen back plus the 500 yen deposit that you place when purchasing the SUICA card. So you will get in total 1,280 yen back. You can get your PASMO refunded at ticket offices for PASMOs, which are a bit harder to locate. They are mostly on private lines or Tokyo Metro lines. Oh, and there's also a PASMO office at the Haneda departures. You will find that at the Tokyo monorail gate. PASMOs don't charge any processing fee, so using the same example of 1,000 yen, you will get 1,500 yen back. That is 1,000 of your card balance and the 500 yen deposit that you initially placed to purchase the card. And honestly, I did neither of this. I just used up whatever balance was left on my SUICA card and will keep my SUICA card for my next trip to Japan. Because let's face it, we are gonna go back to Japan. Another question I had surrounded if the SUICA or PASMO can be used for multiple people, and my recommendation would be no. It would just be so troublesome to tap in and tap out multiple times depending on how many people are in your group, and imagine doing this in peak travel times. So definitely recommend getting a SUICA or PASMO card each. If you are traveling with kids, I have fantastic news for you. If your kid is under 12, they can actually avail to a child welcome SUICA or child welcome PASMO, which will allow them to pay child fare when traveling in Japan. That is half of the adult prices. Is there an international fee to top up my digital SUICA or PASMO card? The answer is no. Other than the foreign exchange fees, there will be no other charges. If you are in Tokyo, trains and buses are the way to go, but you may occasionally want to catch a cab, especially once public transportation stops at midnight. Further, if you are not staying in Tokyo but in the countryside or in smaller cities such as Kyoto, where there is less public transportation availability. Uber totally works in Japan, but the most popular taxi app in Japan is actually the GoTaxi app, which you can now register using a non-Japanese number and credit card. I would recommend having both on your phone for price comparison purposes. In terms of cost, that completely depends on when you ride the cab and where you're going. I took the cab twice when I was in Tokyo, and I have to say, I didn't find it exorbitantly expensive. Very generally, you'll be looking at around 400 to 750 yen for the first 1 to 2 kilometers, and then another 80 to 100 yen for every 200 to 400 meters after. I also had some questions surrounding where to stay in Tokyo and also very specifically where to stay if you are a woman. Here are some points that I would recommend you take into consideration when choosing where to stay in Tokyo. I usually plot out all the places that I want to go to in Google Maps and save it as a list, as you can see here, and then decide where I'm gonna stay based on wherever area has the most dots on it. Shibuya and Shinjuku are by far the most popular areas to stay in, and as such you're gonna find things such as what to do, public transportation options to be more readily available and also cheaper. Most of the popular tourist destinations are also either already in the area or a short train ride away, which means that they are easy to get to. So yeah, if you ask me, I would recommend you stay in Shinjuku or Shibuya. I personally stayed in Shinjuku last time. Just make sure that you are close to a train station. There were some comments made in some of my Japan content surrounding women's safety when traveling in Japan, especially if you're traveling alone. And whilst Japan is generally really safe, I understand that this is a point of concern. And so did you know there are actually many hostels or hotels in Tokyo that cater for women only? Simply search for women only hotels Tokyo. There seems to be a wide variety to suit every budget. I also recommended some apps that you need to download before your trip to Japan and had some questions around that, so let's talk about that as well. Let's start with the Japan Travel app, and the first question was how to set it in English. This is pretty simple. Once you've downloaded the app, log in and click on the 3 dots as you can see here. Scroll down, locate language, and change that to English. You will already know from my previous video that the Japan Travel app is particularly helpful when you're looking for travel routes that your travel pass covers. But what I didn't mention in my last video is that the Japan Travel app actually has plenty of other functions that are quite helpful for a traveler. From things to do and see in Tokyo, tips for travelers, as well as discount codes for various activities. It really is an indispensable app for Japan travelers. Tabelog is the source to go to if you want to know the best places to eat in Japan. The first question I got was how to navigate Tabelog in English. Yes, if you download the app, it is entirely in Japanese, but I would actually recommend you use Tabelog on the desktop. As you can see here, all you need to do is to scroll all the way down and click on English, and voila! Tabelog is now in English. You can search for food type, restaurant, by area, price point, if you're dining in a group or alone, and various other filters as you can see here. Another tip I can give you is that the food quality is so high in Japan that generally any rating that is above 3 stars is considered very good. If you're traveling on a budget or traveling with a family, I highly recommend paying attention to this next part. The Grutto Pass provides a very budget-friendly way to explore Tokyo, Japan. It is a ticket that allows you free or discounted access to over 103 locations in Tokyo. The ticket costs 2,500 yen or around $15 and you can get more information about this pass via the link here and also again in my description box. As you can see here on the website, there is an entire list of places that you can check out, which includes museums, zoos, and many, many more. You can purchase this ticket online and get it sent to you via email before your trip. And honestly, for $15, this is an amazing deal. I do hope that this video and also the first video I did has served to answer all the questions that you might have whilst planning for your trip to Tokyo, Japan. If it indeed has, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. It really does help appease the YouTube algorithm gods, but also more importantly, it just makes my day as a content creator. If you do have any further questions, feel free to drop me a comment in the comment section below, as I do love hearing from you. I also have some cool Tokyo, Japan recommendations which I've placed in my Tokyo playlist. I will place that playlist at the end of this video so that you can go ahead and pick our next adventure together. And if you got to this point of the video, I want to thank you so much for your support. It really does mean everything. I hope that you have a fantastic day ahead or that you've already had a good day. I will see you very soon in the next video. Ciao!